This is the most Europeanized, oh my God, e-bike made in China that I've ever tested. And truly, its features and specifications sound like a marketing SEO dream. Folding e-bike, full suspension, mid-drive, legal, 250 watts, removable battery, smart, ENGWE, because that's the name of the company, L20 3.0 Pro. But what is it like to use in the real world? Well, let me tell you more about it. So first up, huge thanks to ENGWE, although I think that the company should be called ENGWE, because they're really friendly, both their customer service and, you know, in general, this bike, it's not really aggressive, isn't it? It's not angry, it's friendly. I have to hide my tears from laughing about that joke. That joke. But, oh no, one more take. And if you want to get a bike like this, feel free to use my affiliate link, linked below. You help out the channel by using those links. I believe there's a coupon code too to get a discount. This bike is for 1,700 euro. So it's not cheap, but it's full of features. First up, a quick overview. We do get a mid-drive motor on this e-bike, 100 Newton meters of torque, which means that you can still use all of the gears here and still have the full power of both the motor and yourself. It's full suspension. The battery is 730 watt hours, made up with Samsung cells. My range test at mode 5, I could go for 86 kilometers with pedal assist. Granted though, I feel like the motor is not really tuned for torque, and I feel like pedal a bit more powerfully than usual, but still 86 kilometers of range. Okay, let's wait for a helicopter. Helicopter. And yes, still, it is a folding bike. You can see here. Jeez. I did it the wrong way. Folding here and folding here. I'll show the full folding thing later. A duck. Oh, it's glorious. And then to fully charge up the removable battery, we have a 8 amp 54.6 volt charger. Quite impressive. Usually we get 2 to 3 amps, and here we get 8 under 2 hours for a full charge on this bike. This is phenomenal. Finally, manufacturers are listening to the customers, because with this charger, not only is it fanless, so you can charge it easily at home, you can also just go on an adventure and, you know, have a break, and then you have your full range again after 1 to 2 hours. Dude, you can even adjust how quick it charges in the app. I have it at 8 amps, but via the app you can select the charging speed. That is unheard of. I didn't even get that on electric unicycles. Look at that. You can just charge it at 2 amps. If you don't want to, you know, charge it quickly and you want to have a longer battery life of your battery pack. That's really innovative. So when it comes to the riding experience on this bike, I have to say that this e-bike is the closest to a sort of analog bike that I have ridden. The torque sensor really helps you to keep the speed. I'm like at mode 5 now, and I'm still riding 21 kilometers an hour. If I pedal a bit harder, then it goes. It's not the quickest reacting or the most accurate torque sensor. I feel like the Fido that I was testing before was a little bit, you know, snappier. It feels like a little bit like a wind gust when you're riding. It just feels very easy to pedal. It, you know, it is an e-bike obviously, and you know it, but it just feels very smooth. The suspension helps a lot with the bumps. It's a little bit wiggly. It's still a folding bike and could have been made a bit more sturdy, but night and day difference to the Ltegal that I was testing back in the day. So riding experience, very nice. And this e-bike is really a jack of all trades. You can have plenty of comfort in the city, but then you go off-road and it still does well. We can now record the incline a little bit. I have to say that the great benefit of the mid-drive e-bike is that you can still use the gears with the full torque of the motor and yourself. So when we encounter a hill like this, you just shift down and you should have a lot more torque than in a hub drive motor. And you can also see here, torque sensor kicking in from the get-go. So this will help you with those inclines too. Let's see if it kicks in again. Didn't. See if it kicks in now. It does. Okay, so, oh, now it kicked in a lot. Oh, battery goes out. Yeah, I think that's a downer of the locking mechanism, really. Can you make it close up? It's not the first time it's happening. I think the locking mechanism needs to be improved or something. Maybe the bike just bends a little and then the battery is stuck. Step bro, my battery is stuck. All right, so let's go up this hill. Whoa! The torque sensor needs like a half a second sometimes though to kick in once you stop pedaling and then start again. All right, so I'm pedaling. I stop pedaling and now it kicks in. So I know this is not a mountain bike, but you know, just a small thing to consider as I'm testing those devices very thoroughly. So even though this is a, you know, commuter slash cargo city bike that is folding, I still enjoy quite a bit to go with it onto some milder trails. And because of the suspension, the mid-drive motor and the pretty great brakes, I could even go up some mountains in Slovakia. All right, so let's get on to the features of the bike. We'll go from top to bottom, starting with the handlebar. By the way, this sound, straight from Windows. Very funny. Well, let's go from left to right, starting with the brakes. The brakes are actually really, really powerful. All right, braking from 25 kilometers an hour. Hopefully I don't flip. Whoa! That's powerful. Oh man! Those are hydraulic brakes, and I have to say, this is one of the best brakes that I had on a sort of Chinese-made e-bike. 180 millimeter rotors, plenty of stopping power. Even when going down from steep mountains, this should really be totally enough. The grips are very nice too, and quite comfortable. And right next to the grips, you have your sort of control panel here. So here you select the modes, plus, and you also turn on the light by holding the plus button, and then your display dims right away too. Voila. And then with minus, you go down with the modes, and by holding minus, you get into walk assist mode. I'll just hold minus and we'll go by itself. It's not very torquey. Man, the walk assist is so slow. That's the slowest walk assist I ever tried, the weakest one. Now here's the horn. I prefer bells. I think this is just a bit too ENGWE for me. And the info button shows you different parameters here on the screen, like your speed, total mileage. As you can see, 272 kilometers on this bike already. I had it on a trip to Slovakia. Did quite a bit of riding on it. And it also shows you the current watt draw of the motor. It's pretty nice, how long it's on. And here you turn on and off by holding the on and off button. And as you can see here, if I turn off the bike, it right away engages the anti sort of theft mode. Yeah, it has a speaker in it, and it makes sounds if it's being moved. There's even more features in the app, and those I will show you a little bit later. Now let's go back onto the screen. The screen looks very, very modern, very like nice and modern fonts on it. Okay, so here on top you have the battery readout in percent. I do prefer that instead of bars, but the font here a little bit small, a little bit square. I'd prefer something a little bit more readable. You have a huge display of your speed, and here you can see the modes once again. Nice display. I guess the only really downside is here the small battery readout. If you press plus and minus at the same time, then you go into your advanced settings. You can select your units, and happily those are not P settings, just everything spelled out. You can change your units. You can change the screen brightness, although it's not the brightest one, it's still very readable. You can even set up a code to access the bike. So here I just type in 4, this one, 3, 2, 1, and I get access to the bike. Delightful. Now the ENGWE app looks also very nice. You have a main screen that also shows you the weather, and here are the main features of the bike. You can lock the bike, very useful, and then the alarm will turn on as well. You can also set it up automatically, so when you turn off the bike, automatically the alarm gets armed. You can find your bike, but I believe that is only via the app. Ring the bell. Not really a bell. So I guess it's easier to find your bike than if you don't know where it is, but I guess stop. Please stop. If you unlock it via the app, you also don't need to put in the password. You can see I actually spent 14 hours on the saddle of this bike. Quite a lot, 320 kilometers. And there's also some more settings here. You can do the inductive unlocking. I guess that's the bike unlocking automatically. If you come up to it close with your phone, very nice. This is the alarm, password. You can update the firmware. There's some information, battery health settings. Oh yeah, that's the charging speed, and even the maximum capacity currently of the battery pack. So how used it is, sort of the same thing you see on your iPhone, how much health your battery has. Sadly, no smart BMS though, so I would like to see that in the future. You can unbind your bike, and smart services, I don't really know what that is. I didn't access that. So yeah, quite a bit of features, quite a nice looking app, not too shabby. The other pages are just about, recording your trip, and yeah, nothing too fancy here. No possible speed unlock on this bike. This bike is fully legal, no throttle. This is something that is definitely destined for the European market. So for those of you who didn't get the joke, European, it's like European. That's why it turned around. European bike. So right below my phone mount, this is mine. This is not by ENGWE. We can see the sort of gear set or the gears. You can select them here. You push with your thumb here, and with the index finger you can change the gears. This is a little bit more premium than what we usually get, like no-name brands or like the even lower Shimano gear sets or drivetrains. This is a Shimano tourney, and it doesn't really tourney me on because it's a very low sort of, one of the lowest drivetrains by Shimano, but nevertheless Shimano it is, and we get 7 gears which are geared towards the top speed of this bike, up to 25 kilometers an hour. As said, not the most pro thing ever. I almost forgot about this. Thank you, Serge, for reminding me. Serge is behind the camera. Huge thank you, Serge. You can actually adjust the height of the handlebar. So if you're a taller person, you should still be fine on this bike. This bike is actually a lot bigger than what it looks like on pictures. Wish people would say the same about me, especially women. But yeah, actually for me it was really comfortable to ride the bike in the lowest position, getting used to the sort of road bike position that I have on my road bikes. The handlebar is also very wide, 68 centimeters across. I like narrow handlebars, but that's what we get here. Here we also have a folding mechanism for the sort of steering column. So you can fold down the steering column, folds really nicely to the side. It also takes up a lot less space, sort of wide, it's less wide. And you can also fold it here by using this clamp. And then you get a full fold of the bike. Oh, let's just change the pedals here. And then, I need to just do it once more. As you can see, even though it's folding, whoa, Jesus Christ. It's not the most, it's blocked here, okay. It's not the most easy. I also, probably if you have done this several times, it'll be much easier. So, yes, this is much easier to put into a sort of car trunk or a van trunk, but still this is a very big sort of bulky bike. So, for going on trips, it's still easier to have a you know, small analog bike, just takes up a lot less space, or like a, I don't know, electric Brompton. But it's still a very nice feature, and it did help me out on quite a bit of my trips. On one of my train trips, there was no possibility to put the bike into a bike car in the train. So I had to actually fold it, and then it was taking up less space in sort of a special area, which was just a empty part of the train where usually people sit, and then I put the bike there. With the folding handlebar, this also helps out a lot. I was putting the bike into a train, putting it on the rear rack or hanging it on a rear rack, and then with the folded handlebar, it was taking up a lot less space. So, you know, this bike is really a jack of all trades. All of the features are packed into it. A really nice feature, reminding me actually of the Brompton sort of quick release in the front. Here you have a special area on the frame where you can mount a basket or other accessories from ENGWE. So it's nice, it doesn't flop around if you turn. Yeah, definitely take advantage of this if you get a bike like that. The lights on the bike are there, nothing to write home about. It will help you to light up your road in the night, but you know, nothing too fancy. I do like the tail light though. If you look here, this is pretty bright and also has a brake light. Does it blink? No, it doesn't. Actually, there is a tail light, and I think it's just based on a gyroscope, because if I lift the bike up, should it stop lighting up? Yeah, just based on a gyro. Crazy. Oh, this brings me to the one feature actually that is not very European on this bike. This bike doesn't have a brake sensor on the brakes. Oh yeah, no. Which is quite crucial, because if for some reason the controller will keep us accelerating by itself, you can't cut the power by pulling on the brakes. So this is very surprising to me that this bike doesn't have a brake sensor, but just something to let you know, because like usually for me it's just such a normal thing that I don't even think about it, that you know every electric bike has a brake sensor. This one doesn't have one. So definitely a con from my side. For like maximum safety, ENGWE, I'm a bit angry about the fact that there is no brake sensor in the brakes here. This bike is full suspension, so both front and back we have suspension. This is really comfortable actually. I rode it in multiple scenarios, off-road, on-road, and this front fork is definitely good enough, but it can bottom out. So if you don't want it to bottom out so much, you need to make it stiffer, and then it's fine also for heavier riders.
Again? Yeah.
Here we have the adjustment, so this is all the way stiff. This is very soft. You can just adjust according to your weight. The rear suspension is pretty neatly tucked away here in the back. At first I didn't even notice that there's suspension in the back. We have a total of 3 centimeters of travel. Not a lot, but it does help you out a little bit in your uncomfortable ride situation. The seat is also very comfortable, and I guess this is what's making the sound here. You can see there's like sort of like a suspended ride. It's not me farting, it's the seat. Proof. This is proof. I'm quite happy to announce that the tires here are a little bit narrower than on fat bike Chinese e-bikes. These are 3 inches wide and 20 inches big. A very comfortable ride. I guess they're pretty puncture proof too, and yeah, I still would like to have something lighter on it, like something smaller, but I guess for the additional cargo that you can potentially haul on this bike, this is pretty cool. The mudguards here, all filthy, because I was using this bike. They work great in any conditions, both in the front and in the back, just like most of those Chinese-made e-bikes. Here we get very, very proper, decent mudguards. The pièce de résistance is, of course, the motor here in the middle. It's a mid-drive motor, so a lot, in my opinion, smoother in everyday scenarios. You can also use, as said, the torque in all of the gears on the bike. However, it does come with a little bit of caveats, a little bit more maintenance, and the chain can wear off more quickly. You need to be careful with shifting on the bike because it doesn't stop with the acceleration if you shift, and this is the sort of biggest chance of damaging either the chain or the cassette. So it's not like if you have a mid-drive motor, you automatically have, you know, everything better. This will require a little bit more maintenance, especially on the chain and cassette side of things, and a little bit more nuance in terms of shifting. It's best to just stop accelerating, or like just accelerate very, very lightly if you want to change your gears. On the web page, it says 100 Newton meters, and to be honest with you guys, I didn't feel those 100 Newton meters at all. Like, in most scenarios when I was going in the mountains, I felt like I was pedaling quite a bit harder than, for example, on the Fido bike I was testing recently. And even in, you know, city environments, I feel like this bike is generally a little bit underpowered. And the paper says 100 Newton meters. For me, I don't know, I just don't really feel the power all that much. Now, this might be also due to software. Maybe they'll make a software update. Maybe it's something with the torque sensor on the bike. I just don't feel that this bike is extremely powerful, but I guess we'll see. We'll still need to make the incline test with this motor. So this is our 28-degree incline. Very few devices make it up here. Recently, the awesome scooter wasn't so awesome, huh? Didn't make it up here. So let's see if ENGWE can go up here. That's mid-drive power. One more time for good measure. Nice. Okay, let's go down and not die. Oh, that's really steep. Whoa. I'm impressed. It's the first bike, apart from the Duo Titties, to make it up here. Oh, so easy. Oh, so easy. With that said, I was going up very steep inclines in Slovakia for extended periods of time, and it didn't burn, nothing did fry, everything was well. This is especially good news compared to the Fido I was recently testing. There the controller fried, but luckily I got spare parts for it. So it's nice, but you need to know that this requires a little bit more maintenance, a little bit more finesse. But when it comes to the sort of comfort of riding and your ride experience, yeah, this is just closer to a usual analog bike. Now, for some reason, my battery has some sort of self-opening feature. I don't know, sometimes I keep riding and the battery just goes out by itself. And now it's in this position. Could I actually take it out? Okay, so I can't take it out, which is good news for me, bad news for the thief. But, you know, this is not quality, ENGWE. I don't know, maybe I was pushing the bike too hard in those mountain slopes, but yeah. Sometimes I'm just riding and the battery is locked, and suddenly I see that, oh, my battery keeps popping out. So, yeah. So this definitely needs some improvement. But with that said, you can remove the battery. This is the 730 watt-hour unit. You can both charge it in the bike, outside of the bike. You have many pins on the charge port here. This is probably how you can select the charging speed of the charger. The charger is proprietary. And here you can see where's the locking mechanism. I think it's somewhere here in the front. I guess that's the locking mechanism. Maybe that's needs some further adjustment. So it's very nice to see that there's many pins for discharging the battery. However, no seal wherever. You can see this is a bit filthy, but that is because it was standing outside on my balcony for a while without any protection from top. But with that said, I wish there would be some sort of silicone, some sort of rubber seal anywhere here, just to have a little bit more water resistance. The battery doesn't have a very high water resistance rating, just IPX4, which is like, I don't know, spit proof. Nothing really fancy. There is IPX5 on the controller, I think IPX6 on the display, but honestly, if you want to ride a thing like this in the rain, everything should be like at least IPX6. So some improvement to be made here as well. There's also a main power on and off disconnect from the battery. Yeah, if you want to just store it somewhere, just turn it off and yeah, you're good to go. Just leave it at a not too high battery percentage, like between 40–80%. So close it off, lock it up, and then kick it if it pops out. The seat is very plush, or the saddle. It's very fat. It's, oh wait, there's a song. My seat is not fat, it's just chunky. It just looks very bland. I think it could be a little bit nicer looking. ENGWE went to the trouble of making a lot of the stuff on the bike nice looking, like the frame, and even here the, what are those called? Oh man, I'm such a bike not pro.
Hangers?
No, it's not the pedal hangers, that's from EUCs. Oh man, I'll be just fried in the comments for this, but anyway. This even looks nice. But the seat is just like very bland, and it's very comfortable. It's very plush for your upright position. You can also set it up really high like this, so even, oh sorry, yes. People that are 190 centimeters should be fine on it, but yeah, just something to note. The pedals on this bike, just something very basic. It looks nice, but it doesn't feel very premium underneath my feet. Here you can see this is already broken. This thing moves a little bit, like so. Yeah, no sort of studs that are screw in, just milled in studs. And it could be just a little bit better, but I don't complain too much. As you all know, I am a kickstand aficionado, and the kickstand on this bike is very nice, very sturdy, nice sound. Even a little bit too loud for my liking, but yeah, this is a solid kickstand. The rear rack looks very durable, very sturdy, and it's very practical. Makes it a little bit of a sort of cargo bike, cargo folding bike, but it just says it's up to like 25 kilograms. I think it's up to like at least 50, or maybe they're like just a bit cautious with what they say. Well, what they say on the rear rack. It could be a little bit further to the back. Sometimes it was sort of, you know, a bit too close for my feet here to hit against some sort of bags that I had on the back, but very nice to have it here. As said, they just ticked all of the SEO boxes when making this bike. Rear rack, folding, mid-drive, full suspension, front light, mud guards, height adjustable, comfortable seat. Yeah, this is just what they did, and I think it's really cool, because then you have just more use cases for a single bike. So in the end, what do I think about the ENGWE L20 3.0 Pro? Well, first of all, I don't think it's ENGWE, it's ENGWE, as I mentioned in the intro. I think that ENGWE really tried to make this bike as European or as sort of technologically quality advanced as they could, and they really succeeded in many areas, like the mid-drive motor, the phenomenal app, a lot of features packed for a quite reasonable price. Now, it's not perfect, as said. This frame could be a little bit stiffer, the torque sensor could be a little bit better working, a little bit more adjustable, but apart from that, I have to say that yeah, the European manufacturers have to be quite afraid, because you do get a lot of bike for the price of this bike. But at this point, like, let me know in the comments, would you spend 1,700 euro for a bike made in China, even though it has all of the features, mid-drive and suspension? Let me know. But if you're still here, leave a like on the video, subscribe to see more content like this. I'll see you in the next video. See you soon. And you really should wait for the next video, because this is actually the last electric vehicle, micro mobility electric vehicle that I have at home. And in the next video, I'll tell you why I mostly switched to acoustic or analog devices. So stay tuned for that.